Huh? Got me lost there for a second. All right, welcome. We got everyone in here ready. Zoom, um, YouTube should be ready. Welcome again to another session hosted by yours truly. Let's go ahead and give it a couple minutes here for everyone to join. Good morning. Oh well, good morning to you. Oh hey, how are you? How's everything? Good. Nice. Oh, that's nice. We usually have um a couple of people here from New Zealand. Um, Philip and Anish. Um, I don't know what's going on here with the YouTube stream. It's blinking. I, I changed it to 1080p, but I don't know why it's not um it's not stable. You guys can see good on Zoom, right? You guys can see fine, perfect, okay. YouTube is just fucking up. Fuck. Give me 1 second here. And this thing has given me so many problems. It's just Streamlabs. It's just a shitty ass software. Shitty ass software. Okay, let's see. Maybe process on YouTube, but not on my end. Like I'm using my laptop, right? And it just doesn't look the same. I'm guessing because I'm in the same Wi-Fi, maybe. Right. Let me see again. Yeah, let me change that on the YouTube player here on the laptop. I mean on the Mac. I guess it would be automatic. Okay. Cool. The audio I could fix that later, but for now I'm just trying to figure this out. Alright, it looks good, right? You guys on YouTube, it looks good. It looks good. Everyone, YouTube, flawless, good, no lag. Oh, you got Pawn the house. Oh, glad to have you back, buddy. The sound I can fix it, or I can go ahead and scream. Ah. um, but yes, as long as it looks good for you guys, I'm happy with that. Okay, let's go ahead and get this popping. Welcome again to another Asian session hosted by Mack uh, from FXFM. We're gonna go ahead and do the same thing that we always do, which is basically just chart up GBP JPY, followed by gold, and also do AUD USD and any other pairs that you guys might be interested in for the rest of the night. So far, looking at GBP JPY, I'm seeing that support that held strongly at 154.800, creating that lower high we've been waiting for. Price should continue up, and then we have 156 flat as our next strong resistance. That being said, what do we need to do? We just have to set up the channel or whatever you want to call it, our areas of interest for us to take a trade in within. Um, for me, it's gonna be in between the most recent support and resistance in the 4 hour. So let me go ahead and check that out. Give me 1 second here. Oh. Alright, so let's go onto the daily. So what do we see here? High created and then retracement, support being formed, and a lower high at that moment. As I was saying on the 4 hour, what I'm gonna look for, I'm gonna look for the most recent support and resistance. So we have 154, 800, 820, and resistance, which will be here at 156 flat. So it's kind of like a bigger area than normal since it's a strong resistance, and this is coming from the daily, also weekly, and 4 hour for now. So if price keeps going up, we have our first target on the 4 hour, which will be down here. Down here at 150, 155, 400. Above that area, we have basically the final resistance, which is at 155, 800 to 156 flat. What do we need for that? Let's go into the 30 minute. So far, looks like we broke above this minor resistance here, and we're continuing up. This big 30-minute candle can be mirrored, which is good. What do we need for that? We need a nice clean continuation above this high here for price to finally tap around this rejection zone. From there to um, well, from there to here or here to there will be approximately 20, 20, 23 pips. That's good, good enough for me. What am I gonna be waiting for? I'm gonna be waiting for price to make a small retracement, create some support, and then continue up by breaking these highs. Um, Someone took longs on AU and GJ. Cool. Okay. AU should be um, heading up as well. And now let's go into gold. Gold, 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 gold. So now gold is actually um, we broke away from this messy area, right? That we were having last week, from the 31st down to the 28th, right? So looking at gold in the higher time frames, let's go into the daily, see what's going on. Shit, ton of fucking lines. Okay, let's go ahead and uh, hide them for now, right? Take this off. Oh, and take this off. Holy fuck. Alright, So overall, what do we see, guys? We see a bullish trend, right? We have support being created at 1676, and a nice move to the upside, upwards towards 1915, the highest. Currently consolidating between 1915 and 19, I mean 1890. So we've seen that, that movement, kind of like ping ponging between 1890 and 1915. There's somebody here, and I hate that. All right, so yeah, resistance on the daily, which will be at 1915. Actually, yeah, let's make it 1910, right above the body of these two candles. Hold on, until with this right here, right, will be resistance, and our current support, which will be down here. So yeah, 1890 up to 1910, 1915, and just to make it look better, let's go into the 4 hour and put the drawings on. Oh shit, I'm trying my best here. Give me 1 second. Yeah. No, I'm just gonna delete all of this right now. So these were previous areas, so we don't really need them right now. Beginning of the month, we're gonna go ahead and have a nice little cleaner chart. So some chart hygiene coming through for you guys. Some Windex being sprayed on. This Windex, a friend. Come on, man. Tough friend. All right, so support it's at 1890 as we have here. Resistance at 1912, 1910 to make it exact. Let's go ahead and use this here. Bam. Right here. Right. As I said before, we were already past that area, which was very bouncy and annoying, which was between the 19th of May. Well, actually, from the 17th of May upwards to the, well, I'd say the 25th, and then from the 25th we had a little range here, up to the 30th. Now we broke below that area, so now we have a lot more range, to either look for sells or buys, depending on the bias. Bias overall is still bullish. We're on a very bullish trend. As we see here on gold, have 4 hour candles rejecting the downside, creating these huge wicks, right? Support is still holding. It's 1889, 1890, as I said before. We might have another retest, or we can count this liquidity grab as the most recent retest. Actually, I think that kind of close to that. So what do we need now? We need a support being established on the smaller time frames, on the 30-minute, on the 15, and from there we can see what's gonna be the best outcome, whether it'll be buys or sells to fill this wick down here, or buys to continue to ride the trend. So let's go ahead and look for the current support on the 30-minute, which is down here, right? Yeah, today, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Right. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, we're all looking for that easy trade. Um, but yeah, it just doesn't seem to happen. But we still got the 9 p.m. push to 9:30. So what I'm thinking is that possibility of sells and buys. If we get a break above this area here. Now, I mean, I'm not expecting to catch a big move like probably like how you did today. You probably caught these buys and then these sells, right? Um, I might just look for a wick fill down here. Nothing too fancy. And if that doesn't happen, we start seeing rejection. Then upwards to. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Right, and it's stuck right in that little 30-minute range. So, hmm so there you got it. There you go. So either we get a nice little wick fill, close to a wick fill, not a total wick fill, little drop down to 18.96 for maybe a liquidity grab. And if not, then we play the lower time frames and we look for buys above this area upwards to 1903. And if price decides to continue up, then we have another resistance down here at 1906, 1905. But yeah, I think depending on how 930 sets, we can get a nice trade. Depending on if it's breaking below or above this zone, which we're gonna call it a no trade range, right? No trade range. No, 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 it's on. People just saying that they can't hear you for some reason. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
You feel like we're topping out here for a return
Well,
back to the
I'm so
17
I
figure?
well I think so. Those are very big numbers, and
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed.
So the challenge with going with those sort of numbers, there's too much that can happen in between those ideas. So if you were to say, okay, Ted, with all things being equal, if there's not any crazy news economic wise or political, can we go up here? Can we go down there? So the answer would be, okay, if there's still instability in the US economy and sort of the global economy, chances are gold will continue to push up, right? But
Agreed.
then when you look at gold from a cyclical standpoint, like if you like I've worked with it now for a few years,
Yep.
it usually goes in 6 month spurts. If you watch, like gold will go up 6 months and then the last half of the year it'll go down. So we had a crazy bull run for the last few months, and then it started to taper off. So you might find that June we start to dip a bit. So it's just really how well the U.S. economy starts to turn over.
The correlations with other assets make a lot of
Yeah,
sense too, as well. So,
yeah. So if you find that the U.S. economy starts to really move, there might be a I guess like an argument to say, hey, gold's going to dip a bit because people are going to inject money into the U.S. dollar,
yep.
and then we're going to fly. The opposing argument is the stock market is really overbought right now. We're hitting highs with the Dow. A correction is coming, so that means that the market's going to pull the rug underneath everybody when they least expect it, and then
Yep.
basically everyone shovels their money into gold.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And agreed. I think it was a great answer. I was just curious to hear what other people
Yeah,
thought because,
yeah. So like I'm watching that as well. I
yeah.
mean, for me, I'm not like a swing trader in that respect. In terms of like I would, like obviously people that sold at 2000 and it came all the way down to like 1800 or whatever the number is going to be. Or I remember we were buying gold. I remember years ago at like 1260. Like we like that's
Exactly.
like I remember I you were there. Were you
Yeah,
there, Mack? Yeah, I think you were there.
yeah.
We were hoping to break 1300. We were
Yeah.
like, oh man, hopefully this 1295 level breaks and we get to 1300.
And then
And
pretty
then
much it was nothing.
yeah, exactly. And then it flew up. So I mean, there's like we've been through all that. So for me, I'm sort of like, hey, give me my 30 pips, my 50 pips, my 100 pip ranges. I'll let everybody else do the wizard forecasting with their crystal balls because I mean, everyone said the same thing. It's like, okay, gold's going to 3,000 when? Bitcoin's going to 100,000. When? And then when it does, they're like, see, I told you. And it's like, it's such an irrelevant evaluation of the market to say, hey, gold's going to this or gold's going to that. It's like, the way that I look at the market is, okay, where is it going according to my plan? Like if I overlay my plan on the charts, what am I looking for?
Precisely.
And like obviously you want to keep in the back of your head the fundamental sides and all those little things, because it does help you, right? Because if you know that there's hyperinflation coming, you know that people are going to be going to gold. So maybe we're not trying to sell gold every day. We're trying to maybe take a dip and buy
the dips.
Yeah, buy it as it moves up. But if we also know that the U.S. economy is starting to open up, there's a lot of sentiment there. We know Yellen is talking about raising rates. That'll cool off inflation, things of that nature. Okay, well then gold's going to take a dip. So it's hedging both sides, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I think there's a big misconception in FX that you have to be right and you have to marry your bias. It's not. It's like what you have to do is you have to evaluate your opponent, right? Like if I'm going to trade gold, I need to know what every single characteristic of gold is and attack it based on what it shows me. Like there's no point of me saying, well, gold's just going to go up, so I'm just going to keep buying it. It's like, well, if it doesn't make sense, I'm not going to be buying it, right? But I'm not wrong in the sense that, hey, for what I see right now, yeah, maybe bullish opportunity is stronger than bearish opportunity. And you reserve your right as a trader to change your bias. That's the beauty of what we do as retail traders. We can change our bias, but there's the ego factor there of like, well, see, first you said it was a buy, now you're saying it's a sell. Which one is it? And it's like, that's not trading. It is both, because you have to evaluate it based on what does your plan say? How do you want to work your plan, and how does this work in? There's many times where gold was a sell and I just didn't take a trade. It doesn't mean that the people taking sells were wrong. It just means it didn't fit my plan. And I think if traders change their mindset in that aspect and they're like, hey, I'm glad that you won your trade because that's what you looked for. It didn't make sense to me. I couldn't take it. You do a lot better as a trader, because you're not saying, hey, why are you taking buys? Oh, I guess I should be taking buys too. It's like, no, well, like the buys don't make sense in my head, so I'm not doing anything. So like it's all good. Like you guys do what you need to do. Everybody's happy, right?
And price action is a fractal of another time frame. Therefore, so what is your time frame? Everybody's different.
Exactly.
So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks, Mac.
Yeah, not a problem. Oh, we actually missed the G-Day move. Yeah, there was no pullback here. I was expecting for a pullback, at least minor support being created on the 30 or the 15, but nope. Looks like it's been moving since 7. Yeah, right at 7 it broke out of there. So missed it. Really can't do much about it unless we wait for the pullback. Now that we have tested this resistance here, right? See how 930 forms, and from there we might put in a trade. Put in a trade. So
Gold
for this, I'm gonna go
nothing.
to the 15, and yeah, gold is still. Okay. Yeah, gold is doing nothing, bouncing from that area, like you said, ping ponging. It looks like I want to keep setting up alerts throughout the whole stream. Just ping pong, ping pong. But let's go ahead and check also AUD/USD. Yeah, still at that resistance, but price action looks a little better than what it was looking like last week. AU's been on a really rough transition here. It looks like it just got beat up. It's like it went to a party. After the party, they tried to get in his car or her car, whatever, and then a bunch of gangsters just came out and just beat the fuck out of it. It's been like that. It's been in a coma for the last month. Jeez. Wow. I mean, but if you can trade it, that's good. Werner can trade
Yo,
it.
why you trying to kangaroos like that, bro?
Say he just got beat up, boom, 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 and on a coma for a month.
AU just in like this range, bro. It wants to
And
jump up though.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I can really tell by the barcode, but if I scan it, it might say bullish. So, uh, yeah, trying to make sense out of this is really hard. This is the daily. Let's go to the weekly. We might see something. Nope, no nothing. So what can we do when we see something like this, right? What we
Gold's
can
getting
do,
interesting.
yeah. What we can do is, yeah, we need to keep, breaking above that zone. So if we have a 15-minute closing above that area, that will be very, very good. So at this point will be an impulsive entry. That's something I don't want to do. Not too fond of it. You know what? I'm gonna wait for at least either two 5-minute candles breaking above and closing above that zone, or one 15-minute candle just closing above that area. And then I'll wait for the break of the previous high. Right, it's 1900, so very key level area, right? It might reject, it might dance around there, it might just shoot up. And free sales. Yeah, 1898 flat. 1898, 200, 300. Yeah. So now on the 4 hour, that previous 4 hour closed inside the range. This one looks like it wants to break out, right? Um, so yeah, now it's up to the smaller time frames to give us that push, break above this minor zone, and continue up. What is it that we usually see on the 5 minute on gold when we see a break like this? We usually see a retest on the 5 minute, a deep retest. To be fair, the moment we start breaking above this high here, then that would be a better confirmation for buys. It's not that much of a difference. And 4 pips. Alert, alert. Your crypto is tanking because of this. What? Why is your crypto tanking? Somebody made a video of this.
Yo, what it do, Mac?
Yo, what's poppin'?
Same old. Haven't seen you around for a while.
For how long? I'm fucking with you. Oh, this is this guy on Trading Nut, but it was somebody different on the front. Yeah, it's gonna be a very long video. So now it looks like we're breaking above that area. For this, I think this will be a nice little entry here right now, right? If price continues up, we have the retest. Price will be, I mean, our stop loss will be right at the low of that previous 5 minute, and TPE. If we look into the 30-minute, we can hit this area here first. Which is 1903, and finally we have 1905. So yeah, let's see how we can play it safe. Oh, look at that 5-minute closing. Yeah, it's usually 20 pips.
Mac, sorry, just wanted to check. So we wait for the 15-minute candle to close above, and
Yes, wait for that 15 for better confirmation to close above. For me, it's I think it's good to either wait for that 15-minute to enter, or just as an impulse trade, wait for this 5-minute to break the high of the previous one, like it did here. Which is it's looking like it's gonna do it, but just to be safer, you wanna wait for a 15-minute to close. Not just break and close above that 1900 area.
Cool, thank you.
See this 5-minute how it's acting now.
Thanks,
think
man.
it's good. Yeah, you're welcome. $19.05 seems a little bit far fetched, but you can close your partials here. 1903.400. Right here, right? With Professor Pippet. What's good, Mac? Here's my entry. Okay. Give me 1 second, buddy. I'll check it out in a little. the same Professor Pippage that has a Telegram group? Professor Pippage. It's a cool ass name. Cool name. Yeah, that's the fucking shitty thing about Asian is that price is gonna move slow and it's gonna test your patience. But now, seeing how this 15-minute close, it's about to close. Hopefully, we don't close with no top wick. Without a top wick on the top. I think it should continue up. Oh, Inception. Oh shit. Yeah, I can't really see the chat. Can't really see the chat. Oh no, I can. Can't really see the chat. Yeah, man. Streamlabs, OBS, yeah, man. Piece of shit. Piece of shit. Alright, close with a little nip on the top. So I'm gonna actually leave it as it is. But if we start heading back to my entry, I'm closing my entire position. Oh man. There's gotta be a freaking way here. Yes. Oh, here. Man. Alright. So, zoom in. Trading stops. Okay. Okay, okay. Yeah, I usually trail my stops every like 10 pips. It goes 10 pips up. Move it. And your TP, I'm guessing is because of this zone you have marked. You have a little extra there. I mean, it looks good. You got a really good entry right after that break after 7 p.m. It was good. It was really good. Yeah. Missed it. Yeah. Remember that. Now, what's the next thing that might happen? Oh, that price to, you know, retrace a little, create a lower high. I mean a higher low, and then continue up again. So just be mindful of that. Gold is moving good. See how many pips I have. Alright, I'm 10 pips up on one position. I'm closing that one. 12 pips. The other one is 13 pips up. stops the break even at this point. $1,900.83. Ricky Bobby. Nice. 20 pips up. No, I mean 12 pips. Yeah, price is really struggling to get out of there.
Five-minute candle, and then
Yeah.
so if you can zoom in a little bit.
You sound kind of far, but I can hear you.
Is it weird?
Yeah, no, it's good. I can hear you.
Oh,
Now.
can you hear me? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me check my audio settings.
No, it's good. It's good. I can hear you now. It's good.
Hold on. That's really weird. Anyways, so what I was looking at is if you go back to the 15-minute, this is sort of what I had played out in my head is this candle here, this section here, and then basically this section over here. When I started to see this 15-minute candle push, I was like, okay, perfect. That means the chances are we're probably going to fill up to over here. The rationale behind that is we've already pushed up similar to what we've done here. We've gone down in steps over here. So you can see it's sort of clean. And then the problem is with the Asian session always, and this is what I sort of hate about the Asian session, is the spreads are a little bit bigger, right? So trying to clip 10, 12, 15 pips, it's a little tougher and the market moves a little bit slower. So you sort of have to manage yourself because a 5-minute candle could whip down like 4 pips in like a minute and it basically kills your profit. So that's sort of what I was looking for. So I was able to grab 7 pips off of that just based on sort of the way the market was moving. Because remember we said earlier before 9 p.m. it was like, hey, if we're going to break down below there, we're not like if we break down then we're going further down. But if we don't break, then we should push up. So this, this 30-minute candle, sort of took off. So I think it was a pretty safe opportunity. But like you said, now it's going to slow down a bit because we're heading towards the end of the 30-minute candle. So you're going to get a pullback. This might be your second chance to get in if you're going to look to take a trade. My concern is where is the retest here? Right. So like if you're saying, okay, on the next 30-minute candle, so if we go to a 30-minute candle and you take a look and you say to yourself, okay, how are we going to play this 30-minute candle now? So this 30-minute candle's rifled up. You could see right now. So the first thing that my eyes see, and this is something as a trader you have to get very good at, or like, I mean, you should be good at, is like sort of clean moves. Like right away, I'm looking for clean moves. And I'm saying to myself, okay, if those are the clean moves, chances are we should top out over here. Right. But then the question becomes, how are we going to top out? And then what is this new 30-minute candle going to look like? So if we're going to top out, then chances are we may pull back a bit and then drive up. And then so right now, because this is wicking down, your first target could be here. And then your second target can be probably in this area over here, anywhere within this consolidation, because consolidation is sort of like a zone, right? So you have to be cautious around there because it could tap right into that consolidation level and reject. It doesn't necessarily have to be a wick, but just use common sense. Consolidation is a conflict in price. You have price moving up, you have price moving down. So if it gets there, there might be a conflict where it's like, hey, we don't like this price, or hey, we do, and we're just going to push right through that consolidation. So that's something that you would be looking for as a trader. So for me personally, if I was to take another entry, I'd be waiting for this candle to drop, start this form like this T, and then as soon as it starts to do that, my first stop is like the wick fill. and then my next stop is basically, you know, like the top of this area, or, you know, however it's playing out, and I'd be managing that on, you know, the 5-minute time frame, the 1-minute time frame. Just because gold right now is in the Asian session, it doesn't move that well. You also have, I believe, AUD news coming in at 9:30. So once again, AUD, the Australian dollar, has a very strong impact with gold as well. So you may see gold start to sort of move. So, you know, thinking logically again, against your opponent, you say to yourself, okay, well, gold moved up pretty heavy. Is that a setup for the 9:30 news where now gold will rip back down? So that's how you would play both sides. And if you're in a trade right now, you should be securing profits, because once again, you don't know what's going to happen at 9:30. So just be cognizant of that and be aware of it. So you have two opportunities here on how to play it. But then the great thing is too, if gold decides to rip down, as an example with AUD news, if it doesn't break this support, you can double dip and then buy it back up. Because then you say to yourself, okay, AUD news just sort of ripped it down, really didn't do anything, and now we're going up. But then if it breaks this support, you know that your target's over here, and you're like, okay, perfect, I can, you know, put my sell stops below here, and if the news keeps driving it down, I come here, and then if it rejects, I've closed my trade there. So those are sort of your two opportunities that you'd be looking at, and you could sort of plan out accordingly so that you're not in a position where you're like, I don't know what's going on, what do I do, right? Like this is the time when you do analysis before the execution of the trade, but then also now you're doing secondary analysis to give you a little bit more comfort in terms of your trading, right? Because everyone turns around and says afterwards, oh, well, you know, like, I don't know what's happening. It's like, this is where you run all the various scenarios through so that you can say to yourself, okay, I thought of this one. Right. And then if you haven't thought of that scenario, that's when you go back and, hey, why didn't I think of that scenario? What's happening and how could I have avoided that, right? So that's, I think, you know, as a trader, that's how you get better, is you're always going to be looking at multiple scenarios at that point.
Right, and have that harmony that once you know, go into profits, you know what to do next, right? You know, it's easy to go into profits, but then the hard part is knowing what to do.
Yeah.
When to close and when to hold. So in this case, you know, we have Aussie news at 9:30, which you said is going to impact. Usually, a lot of times it impacts gold a lot. For AUD USD, anyone who's trading it, just be aware of that too. Where's that chart that I had open? Oh man, okay, that's fine. So on AUD USD, we're about to break that resistance, which, you know, it might pierce through with the news, and if it does, you have a nice little ride up to 0.7850. That's 37 pips. Yeah, it still, you know, looks very messy to the left. Just gotta be careful. I think Burner, if you're looking for that trade, you will be looking for a break and close. I'm sorry, for a break and close above that 77,666 area, right?
Well, the thing is, normally, you know, I'm more aggressive, and I would enter before it, you know that, because I would have probably, like, just looking at your chart, I don't have my chart up. Just looking at that, I would probably be seeing the EMAs right under it, and that last candle, I would have probably gotten at the bottom because it would have been boosted.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull up real quick. You're on the 30-minute, yeah?
Yeah, 30
yeah,
minutes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, basically the candle before the, like 3 candles ago, you had the first push. Yeah, there you go. Now you got your EMAs on it. There you go. So yeah, when it came down to do that retest, I would have looked at the smaller time frames and seen if it was going to come down to retest the EMAs again. And if it did, which it shows on the 15 and 5 minute, then it would have been an easy bounce off support. That's an aggressive buy right there, you know?
The support right here, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have patience to wait for the zones to break and then retest, because usually for me it doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah, look at this. So whoever didn't secure, you know, that's when you gotta ask yourself how did I play it? Why didn't I secure? You know, why is my position now in a drawdown? Things like that, right?
Yeah, that's the thing with trading. The easy part is drawing a chart and looking at it and saying it's going to go up or down. That's easy.
Yeah.
The real part is learning how to, like you said, closing, knowing where to take your profits at, you know, knowing if that extra 2 or 5 or 10 pips is worth it, you know.
Exactly. Look at this. It went back into the range after moving.
Was that gold?
20, 30 pips, yeah, gold. It hit that zone that I had drawn here, which actually, because Ted mentioned it. Ted mentioned this, right? I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was aiming for the high, right? I was aiming for this high instead of this low, which is what happened. So you have this here move, right? And then another move here, right? So what are you gonna expect with volume? You're gonna expect basically this same move here happening here, and then, you know, the small retracement back down.
Oh, you're expecting to come back and test that zone up there, yeah.
Yeah, right. Get up here, retest, which it did, but it didn't close. All right, it retested it, but it didn't close. It went back into the range. So probably in the next 30 minutes we might continue up. But you know, this was the trade. For Asian, it was more than enough. You know, you have at least 20 pips, you know, in there. So if you didn't secure, that's when you ask yourself, why didn't I secure?
Yeah, but people
Why
should
didn't I
know,
feel confident? Yeah.
yeah, but people should know that, especially Asian session, I believe, like Ted was saying earlier, is you know that it's gonna be a smaller range, so you're looking for less pips. You know what I mean? It's a slower session, so sometimes it's better to just grab that small handful and get out.
Yeah, it's true, Burner. You're exactly right. And I mean, you've been trading AUD for the longest time, so you're really familiar with these sessions. And I think it's, I guess, you know, at the end of the day, it's a combination of overzealous trading, people expecting to hit home runs every day. It doesn't happen. And I mean, I think, you know, if you're trying to hit home runs, you're also going to strike out a lot of times. If you're going to hit singles, you're probably going to get on base consistently, and you're going to strike out. You know, like there's going to be less strikeouts. I've just found that. Like, I mean, I've watched people trade, and it's like, oh, you know, yesterday I caught 70 pips, and it's like even today I looked at it like I could have caught more on the 9 p.m. push, but we were sort of talking, but I sort of saw like where it was starting to exhaust on the smaller time frames. I'm like, man, I grabbed like 6-7 pips. Like, who cares? Like, just close it. Like, when it comes down to it, I think people have to understand that, you know, for the most part, if you're treating this like a hobby at the beginning, especially if you're trading the Asian session, like, just get used to the idea of winning a trade. Like if it's 5 pips, if it's 7 pips, like get out of the mindset that, you know, you need to grab these massive moves and grabbing 5 pips isn't a trade. I mean, technically grabbing 5 pips is a trade, because I mean, I grabbed 7 pips. I went to basically a 3 pip drawdown. So I had a 2-to-1 risk to reward. I didn't really drop below that. And you know what, like I know the Asian session is going to, you know, sort of bounce around, things of that nature. So get used to just taking small wins, and those small wins add up over time. You know, you start off winning 3 trades in a row, then you win 4 trades in a row, then you win 5, and then suddenly you're saying, okay, I want to try and win 6, but if I lose a trade, that's okay, because I know that consistently I can win trades in the long term. And I think people have to get used to that mindset of just, just grabbing what they can grab out of the market every day. If you're going to come to the market every day, grab a little bit each day. It's not going to hurt you, and you're going to be able to you're going to be able to take advantage of that. But more importantly, you're going to get used to the way the market's moving, and that's going to help you as a trader, because then when you do see bigger moves and you can capitalize on bigger moves, you're confident. You haven't, like, the worst thing in the world, and I know everybody that's listening, you lose 4, 5, 6 trades in a row, or 2 or 3 trades in a row, you go try and take that fourth trade or that next trade that you're going to try and, you have good analysis. What do? The first thing that you do, you're just looking to secure profit. You're saying to yourself, oh man, if I can just get like 9 pips or 10 pips, I'm good, because I just want to win. And that's the trade that ends up running 40, 50, 60, 70 pips. And you're like, oh man, I wish I would have been able to hold my trade, but I was so shook from trading and taking losses and getting stuck in these positions. And here it's like, this is no good for me. Like I and then now you get super frustrated because it's like you had the trade analysis, but you're so mentally shook from your other trades. Now you double screwed yourself because you lost on the other trades. The trade that was going to be a monster, you cashed out early, and now you're questioning your whole entire state of mind and what you're actually trying to do as a trader. So sometimes it's nice to take wins because those wins are, 3 pips, 5 pips, whatever they're going to be, but it's the psychology behind it, and it's the emotion behind it of like, hey, I didn't lose anything, and so I'm still in the game, I'm still positive. And then when that big whale trade comes, you're like, hey, perfect, like like I'm comfortable, I can hold this because I didn't really take a loss before. I was just grabbing small bits and pieces at that point.
Right. Came apple picking.
Yeah.
Dr. Apples. So I guess for this, the parameters were good. Waiting for that 15 minute to close. It's kind of like a big 15-minute candle. So for the 30-minute, it wouldn't have made any sense. So the trade, I took it based on the 5-minute. So I said it. I saw the 5-minute breaking above that zone. The other 5-minute retesting that area, which we usually see. Usually even see deeper retest, and then the next one breaking the high of the previous one. So that was another confirmation for price to continue up. I was targeting the resistance here instead of targeting the support here. So it made more sense. Then I could have said that, instead of hoping for this trade to run that long, 15, 10 pips longer, I, cut it down to 20, right? And that's it. That's kind of like how you want to play it. You want to play it safe, and you want to play with a stop loss that's gonna make sense to you. You don't want price to go deep to your stop loss to your 20 pips, or which is reasonable for gold is $2. $2 is just nothing. In 5 minutes you can get those $2 moves. So that's when you start playing it, and cutting your losses. See the trade going negative, what, 5 pips, 10 pips? What are you gonna do? You're gonna close at least 50%, 20%, 25%, 30%, whatever. You just minimize the loss. Because once you see gold, ripping down, if we're looking for at a buy, perhaps, and it's ripping down, going against your bias, forget about it. That means that you're gonna get screwed. It's gonna hit the stop loss. Right now, I wouldn't. I mean, there's nothing to see here. Like on gold, just this range. It's basically nothing, right? Even on the 30-minute, it looks bad. On the 1 hour, it probably looks even worse. Yeah. Now we're left with this, wick to the upside. I'm not gonna say it's a liquidity grab for price to continue down, because for that I'll need to close below this zone here.
Yeah, so to your point, Mac, you're right. I think if you can get it, I think if anyone's looking to take this trade with gold, wait for the hour to close now. see where it closes, and you'll know that the zone that was just created with that hourly wick, you can now map out a zone right there, and then wait for candles to go back in or pull away, and then you have sort of a clean trade at that point. So I think that this is an area where people are going to get caught in, because now your hourly candle has created a zone, and you're like, well, what do I do with that hourly candle? Well, the thing is, you can't really do anything, because you need to wait for this candle to finish, right? Because what's going to happen now is, we already know for the most part this is going to be a zone. Whatever size it's going to be something, right?
Yeah.
But depending on how this candle finishes will determine, are we going to drop a bit and then continue to go up and break through that level? Or are we going to break up into it a little bit and then now continue down? Right. So this is where, it gets a little tricky when you have this kind of range, because you can start managing it where your next hour candle may pop up and you're like, oh, we're going up. And then you're like, no, we're not, because it creates a wick again in this area and drops and creates something like similar to this over here. And then the next hour candle goes back up. It doesn't go as high, and then it drops again. And this is where people get, they get tossed around in gold, because they're like, oh, it's a buy. And then as soon as they take a buy, they're buying right into that major zone that was just freshly created. And it's like, oh, now it's a sell. Okay, I'm gonna take a sell. And it's like the hour closes and the new hour starts and it rips right back up again. You're like, oh, it's a buy again. And then it rips down like 20 minutes later, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And you can start to see each hour candle is wicking up into that zone, and you're like, I don't have a direction. And meanwhile, the higher time frames are starting to turn bearish, but it's almost like it's grabbing fruit from the tree, pulling it down to the basket, and you're the piece of fruit that keeps bouncing up and down. And it's like, you got to wait for the basket to leave.
Yeah.
Like, don't keep trying to be the apple. Wait for the basket to move.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be tossed around like a laundry machine, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this 1 hour wick, it does give you a zone for you know for for a wick fill basically. So what do we need now? We need the smaller time frames, maybe the 15, the 5, even the 30, to get another close above this area, giving us better confirmation that we're gonna continue up. But we need to close above, right? We need to close above this zone. So we need to see a 30-minute candle closing above the zone and price continuing up. Like Ted was saying, you don't want to be stuck in here and be tossed around, because we're getting close to what 10 p.m. and as 10 p.m. approaches, 10, 11 p.m., 12 a.m. These times are not very very volatile, and you can tell it's really hard to hold a trade formation down to London, or throughout London down to New York. I mean, it might happen, but the possibility of that happening is it's very slim. So I know you
Yeah.
want to grab the best entry possible from here, but what are you gonna do? You're gonna be in the chart for the next 3 hours, waiting for this 20 pip move to happen? No.
Yeah. And if you go back to the 30-minute candle, Mac, you'll see sort of what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So if you zoom in a little bit more, I don't know if everybody can see that, but like you have essentially what we were talking about, where we created that wick down. Let me just do this here. Oops. Yeah. We created that wick down, and now we're starting to drive back up, but we don't know necessarily how high we're going to move up to. But the safe bet is, because we created liquidity from the bottom, there should be somewhat of a push. So when we went back to talk about how would we have taken that trade, we were expecting the 15-minute candle to finish up here and then drive down and go up, but it pulled all the way back because of the news. Same idea. You have this here, you have this liquidity grab here. You know that this has been created. So you have a nice, easy sort of move up, and then you can start to map out your targets. Like this would be probably your first target, or, you know, even this is your first target. You know, this is 1, this is 2, and then finally get up over to here or over here, and this would be like 3. Like you'd come back into that zone, but then, you know, you have safe take profit points at that point.
Right. So next thing to do, you know, after you get that close above that area, is just set up your profit, your targets. Sorry. First, we'll be here, you know, getting that wick fill. After that, what do? We zoom out and look into the 30-minute, even the 15. See on the 15, so maybe you can see something clearer. So this right here will be another range that you don't want to be stuck in. Like that. Above that zone, we have this support here, which is not resistance in 1905. And this major daily resistance at 1911 up to 1913. So completely up to you to, you know, either look for a trade based on the 5-minute. You want to see support being formed, and you want to see some sort of rejection, wicks forming to the bottom, and then, you know, seeing price moving upwards. Better confirmation would be the break of this high, which is the wick fill in the 1 hour, and price to continue closing above 1902. You know, piercing through this little zone, consolidation zone, whatever you want to call it, and then continuing up, and you have, you know, points to target, like here. Let's see what else. And finally here, right? Yeah, this zone right here looks very tricky. You know, being stuck in here is something that I don't want. But on the 30-minute, it looks clean. On the 1 hour, it looks clean. So yeah, it's basically you just gotta wait for this to clear this zone here. I mean, actually zoom in better. This zone here. And then you have, you know, your move for pre-London or even London Open for price to continue up. Usually you get that small retracement at 3 a.m. During London Open hours. And I mean, if you're planning on trading it, then you know that this is the previous support area created during the Asian session. So keep that in mind, and then wait for the next support area on the London session. You know, if you're still looking for buys or you're trading the London session. But right now, main priority here is just for price to clean and clear this zone here, which I believe it's going to the way it's moving. Because that pullback was mainly due to news. If you guys noticed, it was very quick. We went back into that range, but we left that wick to get filled. So yeah. This is providing a better understanding on how we can, you know, in case you got stopped out on that previous trade, how can you retake it based on the history of that movement, right? You can clearly see here on the 5-minute that support was created. There was a break above that zone, a retest down here with that 5-minute wick, right? And price continuing up. So We still got 11 minutes until 10. I'll be right back, guys. Give me 1 second. I got some. I was gonna hop in AU at 6:44, but since Newsway glad 593 for sale. Okay. So 15-minute looks shitty. Going to the 30-minute. See what's going on here. We still got 11 minutes for this to hopefully, close above that zone. If it doesn't, then I'm seeing this 30-minute just bouncing back and forth around this area now. So this will be the new range, right here. This zone here. Yeah, let's wait and see. I have a massive headache. I think my body's calling for some caffeine. Anyone tell Mack? Basically, he is murmur. Murmur. See what's going on for tomorrow. See what's going on for tomorrow. Oh, it's the Euro bank holiday, so the European nation is having a holiday. See, really nothing interesting. RBA, the Aussie.
Have you brushed your teeth?
No, I did not brush my teeth.
No.
It's the first thing. I don't use that anymore.
So delete it.
No,
Yeah, you can delete it.
Yeah, it's scary. It could be too accurate. GJ, yeah, GJ is actually heading down. It's kind of doing what I was hoping it would do. Just create some support here on the 30-minute, and yeah, hold it, and then price continuing up.
Hey. What? That's not right.
Yeah, for some reason here, let me check the audio again, one last time. Someone's auntie, yeah, streaming it's Liddy. Who the fuck gave me 3 dislikes, bro? What the fuck you guys doing, man? What's up with the hate? Oh man, I hate that shit.
Yeah, you always got 3 dislikes on this thing.
Man, yeah, it's like 3 dickheads just coming here just giving dislikes. You know what happened to the last video? I got flagged because of you fuckers. I was cursing too much. For some reason my camera is not working here. That is what it is. According to Tony, that's Daniel, JP, and his sister. Oh shit! Now it came to 7 dislikes. Man, you guys are fucking assholes for real. Yeah, now it's a very, very tough situation here on gold. At least, if you caught that trade beginning of the stream, guys, all I beg is for you guys to give it a like to the stream, subscribe if you haven't, turn on your notifications. It was a pretty decent trade. 10 pips. I closed 13 on one. That was good enough. Unfortunately, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. We did retest that support or resistance, whatever you want to call it here. And now we're just basically waiting for this range to get filled and continue up. But the way it's looking, we're going back into this range we started from. So this basically in the last 2 hours, it's been the whole session, right? And GJ, it was already a little too late for us to catch it. Price had already went up here. That was beginning of the stream, and then didn't retrace or anything. So right now, just juggling. We don't know if it's gonna continue up. We have a lot of conflict to the left. Above this zone here, I would prefer to take buys right above here. We still have these wicks up here, but I think it will be cleaner if you look onto the higher time frames. We can clearly see, your typical market structure where you see your higher highs
Happened to your thingy? Did it say maximum storage month?
Okay. Um, your higher high being created, higher low, and now price needs to continue up to basically retest that previous resistance and hopefully push through it to continue up. And I don't have any targets, so uh, let's go ahead and look out for possible targets because 161 is a little too far. So 4 hour or daily, whatever. Go all the way to the left. Ah, run, Forest, run. Alright, so yeah, 156 here. So yeah, I've been calling that for like months already. Well, 2 months. 156. Jesus. Which is here. 161. 156. Which is here, right? So what do we need? We need to have that in. Basically, just kind of like measure the range, right, from here, from that most recent high to the nearest high, which is here. Let's call that double top. That double top here, the most recent high after 156. So I'm gonna drop a line and a zone of rejection. Right here, boom. Just like that, chilling. And that right there is 157.800. So it kind of matches your quarter point at 750.800. So now we know once we break above 156, we have a nice clean rate, move up to 157.800. And this wick up here. It's about what 20 pips from here. Really relevant. Oh, what? And finally, we have that that zone here that's been tested twice. Sheesh. I'm telling you something. FX Forex, it's hard. It's really hard to follow when it comes to technical analysis because it's not all nice and clean and even if you use indicators, it would never be clean. The fluctuation of price between currencies is too much sometimes, especially a volatile pair like GBP, JPY. So give yourself a pat in the back if you trade currencies. Cynthia Aguilera on Twitter, JP sister. You guys keep fucking with that. So actually, this has been tested twice. A really pretty decent, strong rejection and resistance at 163 up here. Okay. So now go back to the tiny time frames. Because if you see this without lines and shit, if you use indicators, whatever you want to call it, it still looks very difficult. It's not very trendy. You have to dissect it to know what the fuck is going on. I think gold looks cleaner than GJ on the higher time frames because it's just know um, just trending up all the time, right? This is gold right on the weekly. You have price from 2006 at $560 and current price at 1890. So it's a lot cleaner than GJ, right? What the fuck? Alright, let's go ahead and see if we can possibly take another trade on gold if we clear that zone. Wow, look at that shit, guys. It's no, we're out of that zone. We're out of the range, and this is something that I said I wasn't gonna do, which is, if we start to close below because we think that this is a liquidity grab to look for sales for this wick fill, which I'm not very very comfortable with that, so I'm not even gonna look at that anymore. And yeah, that sucks. GJ is just ranging here still. Somebody said look at GU. GU is just ranging here as well. Nothing much to look at. Yeah. Trading is the hardest but easiest career I've heard. That's so much time, so many times, not so much times, so many times. You motherfucker, illiterate. You have to take your time. Everyone learns in their own way. Yeah, that's true. And they see things differently. True. True. Oh, thank you, buddy. Thank you, Jack. What's the YouTube link? It's youtube.com slash Mack attacks. Attacks like with an S at the end, plural. I attack multiple times. I'll be right back, guys. Jokes aside, just give me 1 second. See if GJ's gonna continue to drop and get that support. Alright, get it done. Get it done. Still the same shit, nothing new. And wow, gold's still stuck in that range, huh? Shit. That's basically being tossed around. Looking at this. No homo, no FOMO. Oh, 94 likes. Can we get 6 likes? 6 likes. Get a hundo likes. But yeah, guys, as you guys know, gold is doing the same shit as always. You know, tossing people around. So you don't want to be stuck in here. If by any chance you get that break and you want to get those quick sales down to, you know, maybe 1895, 1896, for quick scalp, yes, do so. But you need basically just a candle away from this zone here. This is a magnet, right? Magnet attracting candles and bodies of candles. So let me go ahead and clean this up a little. That was the original bias for parameters. Parameters, and the range is still there, holding strong. As of GJ, what do we need? We need support being formed, hopefully here. And once we start getting the break above that previous wick here, right? 155 200, and price stays above 155 200, then it will make sense to look for buys. So support here, and let's go ahead and say waiting for price. Five 200. Which is here to continue up. Yeah, basically your buys. So this will be your entry here, right above here. Right, so look on the 15, break up of that high here, that wick. And even on the 30, you can see it right here for buys. For sells, I wouldn't be risking sells. It looks way too messy. See all these wicks down here. And previous support is at 154,800, so we have to break under 155 flat. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night.